Wuthering Waves is dropping in just a few days, and I know a lot of people are probably desperate for tier lists, which I'm not going to be covering in this video. Instead, as of this moment, I can confidently tell you that team building in Wuthering Waves is just as important, if not more important, than individual units' power levels. In this video, I'll attempt to explain why this is the case and break down the art of team building in the simplest way so that everyone can apply this to their accounts accordingly and unleash massive DPS regardless of the units you have. Now for a start, you might be wondering why we even need a team. Why can't we all just run one unit? And to that, well, you could. And Dancing is a great example of a unit people run solo. But that is provided you're actually good at the game, like fellow Rexton over here, and let's kid no one, playing at 1 HP constantly is not a fun place to be for most people outside of maybe the late game hologram stages where you're going to get one-shotted either ways. Now, aside from that, the reason why you need a team is due to the fact that ultimate cooldowns exist, and generally speaking, most units do the bulk of their damage off of their Resonance Liberation skills, which is typically their main burst or a transformation tag that elevates their damage drastically for a short duration. Hence, swapping in another unit that could then fill in the downtime of that ultimate is how you achieve even higher DPS, especially since some of these units' outro skills will make this even more evident. Namely, the following 4 units, Taoti, Sanhua, Mortarfi, and Jianxing are who I consider to be the Yonko of Wuthering Waves. These 4 units each possess an outro skill that boosts a different core damage element by 38% for 14 seconds to the next unit swapping in, with Taoti boosting resonance skill damage, Sanhua boosting basic attack damage, Mortarfi boosting heavy attack damage, and Jianxing boosting resonance liberation or ultimate damage. With this 4 as a centerpiece of a team, we can then look to add the respective DPS units that focuses on these damage elements. A great and typical example would be pairing Tian with Mortarfi. This is simply because Tian's Resonance Liberation skill allows him to enter Qinglong mode for 10 seconds, causing all of his attacks within that duration to be considered as heavy attacks. Naturally, this means that he will enjoy a 38% damage increase for all of his attacks during his ultimate, provided Mortarfi swaps into him with an outro skill ready. Another great example would be pairing Lingyang with Sanhua, as most if not all of Lingyang's damage comes from basic attack, hence this will massively boost Lingyang's DPS and it will become a perfect pairing in this case. Similarly for Jianxing and Taoti, they could pair with Dancing and Encore in the non-ultimate form respectively, though I would say given the current roster of units, their application are not as relevant compared to Sanhua and Mortarfi, but once a main DPS is introduced that focuses on the damage elements they boost specifically, they are bound to shine. Now of course, certain DPS units might not have an isolated single outstanding damage element, which is why pairing them with elemental boost outros instead is ideal, even though the boost multipliers are much lower. For example, Kaocharo as a DPS falls into this bucket, which is why people pair him up with Yinlin, who boosts electro damage by 20% for 14 seconds with her outro skill. As of now though, the only other elemental boosters are Dancing boosting Havoc damage and Alto boosting arrow damage, but I do suspect that we are likely going to see one for every element in the future. Now if at this point you're thinking about checking out further info on the units I've mentioned, definitely pay a visit to gamergazer.gg, a wiki site newly built by LD Player, the sponsor of today's video. On the wiki, not only do you have access to WuWa information, but they even have a tier list maker for you to share it among your friends, and they're also planning to add a gacha pool simulator in the near future, so why not check it out using the link in the pinned comment and description if you're interested in it. Regardless, at this point we'll have locked up 2 slots of the team and we can now look to round the team off with a 3rd unit. In most cases, you would want to add a unit that can heal and or buff, with Verena and Baizhi being a go-to units, and Verena in particular adds not just sustain but also ridiculous amounts of damage boosts with her inherent skill and outro skill that applies not just to the incoming unit but instead buffs all the team members, which is why people are praising her so much. However, another reason why we need a unit that heals outside of just sustain is because this 3rd unit is meant to be an additional buffer using the Echo set Rejuvenating Glow, and this has an effect which increases the entire team's attack by 15% for 30 seconds when you heal. So this is really massive if you can't tell already, and on top of that, it is also ideal if you use the 4-cost Echo Bellborn Joe Kelani for even more damage increase with the shield they provide. Now of course you might be thinking, hey, if I require 3 teams for tower adversity, where can I find a third healer? Well, the alternative to having a straight up healer is to create one with this 3-star sword weapon, Originate Type 2, which can be used on a unit like Yang to trigger healing for the set bonus when you cast Resonance Liberation. Yang can also further increase energy regeneration with her outro skill, making her the perfect unit to pull this off. Now that we have the team set, planning the sword rotation is also part of the team building, as it will determine if the outro skills will work to its maximum potential. I'll now proceed to further spoon feed you by showing you the basic sword rotations using 2 teams as examples, and why not let's just start with the most popular team in the town right now. And of course what I'm referring to is the Yinlin, Verina and Calcharo team. This team is fairly straightforward in its rotation, as Calcharo is the main DPS over here, with Yinlin looking to buff him up and Verina looking to buff both Yinlin and Calcharo up. Hence you'll start with Verina for the team-wide buff, then going into Yinlin, and lastly Calcharo, then rinse and repeat. For our second example, we will utilize something a bit more special, and that is a double buff swap rotation in Encore, Sanhua and Taoqi. This team works because Encore's main damage comes from the resonance skills when she is in her base form, while her resonance liberation or ultimate transforms her into a raging mass, significantly boosting her basic attack damage and dropping her resonance skill damage. Hence both Taoqi and Sanhua boost Encore based on whether she's liberated or in her base form. The swap rotation in this case will therefore be Taoqi into Encore, into Sanhua, into Encore, resonance liberation, and rinse repeat. Note though, I've been told it's actually possible to maintain a 100% uptime on Encore's ultimate with just a constant Sanhua Encore swap rotation if you aim for energy regeneration, but I have to test it once the game launches. Now understandably at this point, some of you might still have queries on whether a specific team you have in mind works, and if that's the case, maybe you want to head over to my Discord channel where everyone can chime in together. Also, what I've shared in this video is the basic team building guidelines, but if you have a banner unit in mind and you want to know how you can plan around that, definitely check out this video over here. I'll see you guys over there. This is Corky Gachas, signing off.